I'm Steve O'Brien. I'm the Vice President of Program Integration for the F-35 program. My previous experience, I started out of university as a naval officer on ships. And after that, I got interested in aviation, really saw the power or the value of air power, and applied for a transition to become a pilot, and I did. I flew F-18s with the U.S. Navy for over 20 years, and when I left active duty, I got involved in the F-35 program in 1999, so almost 14 years ago, and worked in a variety of positions in engineering and then business development, and then ultimately becoming the Vice President of Program Integration and succeeding Tom Burbage in that regard. Well, I try to, everyone brings their own background to a position, and mine was working with the men and women who maintain, sustain, and fly aircraft. And I try to think of it from their point of view. I was involved in a series of combat operations from the 20-some-odd years I was involved in, and really where I kind of look at the program is from the value of the coalition point of view and the interoperability that it begins. So I flew F-18s. I led one of the first combat operations of one of the earlier Southwest Asia campaigns, and for me the fact that airplanes I was in were not interoperable, were not that didn't talk to the other airplanes in the coalition was very, very disheartening. And where I view the lens of the F-35 program and what it brings to all these different air forces, the ability to be able to exchange information between our closest allies, the ability to be able to bring a very capable airplane into all the air forces of the allied nations really is the power of coalition operations that we really did not have in the 1990s and even the early 2000s. And that's call it the enthusiasm I bring to the position and the focus I try to bring to it. As a pilot, I try to say it's really like the difference between propeller-driven airplanes and jet airplanes. It's a whole different generation of airplanes. What a pilot can do in an F-35 really redefines a multi-role fighter. It's not just going to be the air-to-air capabilities or the air-to-ground capabilities. It's the information gathering. It's the different intelligence the F-35 will bring. It's what it allows the pilot to do that you never could do with earlier generations of airplanes. When I hear the pilots talk about it, and really the young pilots talk about it, because they bring a whole level of understanding to this technology that I really never can bring. But we're really just scratching the surface of that. And these pilots are going to bring a whole level of understanding that really makes me excited to just be part of the program. And it's not just the pilots too, it's the maintenance personnel, it's the engineering personnel, the ability that this airplane brings with a software reprogrammable airplane is really just fantastic. And when you have a software airplane like that, it really allows the people, the engineers, the pilots, the maintainers to do things that I never could imagine in the airplanes I was part of. Well, UAVs and manned pilots, I believe, have a spot in national security. And when you're talking about national defense, you're talking about risk and capabilities, and what's the mix of both. And what I've seen talking to Air Force commanders throughout the world is they see a mix of things UAVs do well and things manned pilots do, manned vehicles do well. The UAVs really are about where a manned aircraft physiologically really cannot do long missions, 24-hour missions, of surveillance and reconnaissance, or a manned aircraft where you don't want to send a piloted aircraft into a particular mission. What they don't do are kind of two things. One, they unmanned airplanes are unable to really be capable of assessing dynamic situations. The situational awareness in an unmanned air vehicle is not what it is in a manned air vehicle. The other is risk. And the risk of having your entire Air Force being rendered not capable by the loss of just data links or the ability to do that is not a risk any Air Force commander that I've ever met is willing to take. So it's a balance, if you will, of missions you can use unmanned air vehicles for and missions you can use manned vehicles for. And that's the balance I'm hearing and the risk I'm hearing from Air Force commanders throughout the world. Well, I've had a series of assignments in the U.S. services and Lockheed Martin that allowed kind of that ability to interact with our closest allies throughout the world, U.S., international, in Europe and Asia Pacific, and really I think F-35 brings that closer together. So if you look back at the F-16 that we've had, that Norway's had, there's been very few programs you can talk about that really bind countries for years and years, and F-16's done that. If you look at worldwide with 26 countries flying the F-16, it's created relationships, military relationships, political relationships, economic relationships that are only really enabled by having the same fighter airplanes. I mean, I look at the Nordic relationships that F-16 has provided not only the government of Norway, but the Royal Norwegian Air Force, and those are enduring, and it's different than, if you will, driving the same truck as another country. Those things enable a real conventional strategic defense that other things do not. And I think F-35 is going to create that same level of relationships that F-16 has. And we're starting out, I think, with more countries than we did on the F-16 and a longer runway toward it. So, being part of that, being part of it early is really something that's special, and something that's special with Norway that we've had, and the ability also to enable these industrial relationships that we have with Lockheed Martin, with Norwegian industry, and the rest of the industries around the world. I mean, the ability to take the best of aerospace companies around the world and then create the best fighter airplane, really provides not only industry and moving technology to a different level, but the real end user is the beneficiary of all these. So for me to be part of something like that early is very special. Well, I think it's a long-term relationship. It's C-130, it's F-16, it's a series of even follow-on procurements and relationships. And for us too, it's not about just quantity of work. So, we've had a relationship with Kongsberg for many years and other companies. It's about high technology composites. It's about electronics, Kitron and others. It's about not only the volume of work that we do with Norway, not only about building it just on Norwegian jets, but on all 3,100 airplanes of the program of record, and adding more countries every day. It's the quality of work too that it does. That we are the beneficiaries of the high technology aerospace industry in Norway, but it's not just Lockheed Martin. It's the U.S. government, it's the U.S. services, it's the other partner nations, it's the growing list of international countries. So, being part of that, where we're able to share the technological benefits between the companies of Norway, Lockheed Martin, and our other teammates, but to share it with the other allies around the world really makes it a great program to be around. I think we're in a very good spot. We set a schedule 3 years ago, and we're on plan to that schedule. We've delivered 30 jets in 2012. We're on track to deliver 36 airplanes in 2013. We've stood up bases, operational bases now at Marine Corps Air Station Yuma in Arizona. We have 22 jets down at Eglin Air Force Base. We've got 3 jets at Yuma. We've got approximately 10 airplanes in Maryland at Naval Air Station Pax River, and another 6 airplanes at Edwards Air Force Base. We've exceeded our flight test plan now for 3 years running, and we continue to test the airplane to the edges of the envelope. So we've been up to Mach 1.6, past 50 degrees angle of attack. We've been out to 700 knots and 9 Gs on the F-35A. And we're continuing to expand by dropping weapons off the airplanes, both precision air-to-air and air-to-ground, and we'll continue to do that in 2013, increasing the rate of flight test and increasing the amount of airplanes we have. So where I see the program is something that's accelerating in production, accelerating in flight test. We're also accelerating in the number of countries that are coming on the F-35 program. So 3 U.S. services and 8 international countries are all under contract to procure the F-35, and we expect that list to grow in the future. Sure, there are challenges ahead. It is a development program, and I think we need to face these challenges head on. 2 of the main ones that I see for us are the helmet-mounted display, and the helmet-mounted display is unique. As we say before, we used to have helmets on airplanes that I flew that really just protected my head. Now we're talking about helmet-mounted displays that replace the heads-up display and all the flight information that was carried in there, and then put it in the helmet and allow the pilot to look really 360 degrees even through the airplane because of the infrared sensors that are mounted externally. So we need to focus on that. We had a number of challenges before. We've addressed 3 of the 4 main challenges that we've had. The last one is going through flight test today, and we expect the U.S. government to have an internal meeting to whether to certify that these problems are basically taken care of. Those problems in more detail, the first one is called green glow, and the U.S. government, after testing, said that the green glow is not an operational issue. So that one we have dealt with. The second is latency, which is the delay in the infrared picture and the real picture that you have. So the real life picture and the delay, as a pilot moves his head, what is that delay time, the latency? And we've evaluated it in the most stressing missions. We've quantified what the requirement is, and we have margin to that requirement. The second one is night acuity. And really that's a nice way of saying is, what's my vision? 2020 vision, 2030 vision, and that is the one we still have to do testing. For the Norwegian jets, we've actually installed a new camera. We will install a new camera, an upgraded next generation camera, and we in the United States government and the program office agree that will solve the problem. All that's left is, does the current camera meet the initial operating capabilities of the U.S. Marine Corps in 2015? I think we have agreement that the updated one will meet the requirements going forward in the future. And the last one is jitter, which is as the plane vibrates in a buffet regime and the pilot vibrates, how do we dampen the display to the pilot so it doesn't vibrate as well? And we've installed micro IMUs in the airplane. They've gone through flight test. And again, the program office is evaluating all 4 of those conditions. We expect them to render a decision on whether there is progress or sufficient progress to cease the development of the alternate helmet or not. And they'll make a decision based on data, based on quantifiable information. The second challenge we really have to focus on is software. This is a software-driven airplane. It has 9.4 million lines of code on the airplane, a significant amount, more than 4 times more than a fully operational F-22. So it gives you some idea of the capability. Now, 85% of that software is flying today on the airplane. 95% of that software is in the labs or been coded into the system. But we have to do that final software verification and test on that. We just recently released the next load of software to flight test on time. But there's a series of measurements that you need to continue to assess your ability to deliver the software on time, and we have those metrics set up. We just need to deliver and focus and put resources toward it, and that's what we're doing. We've given those metrics to the U.S. government as well as the other partner nations, and they're going to evaluate us based on those steps and those metrics. No, I think by all accounts, it's a development program. Certainly, we find a problem, we do root cause, we do corrective action, we do an engineering change, and we move on. So we get a lot of audit agencies on the F-35 program, it being a big program, and that's understandable. It's an important program too. It's an important program to the United States government, it's an important program to Norway and a host of other countries. But all the audit agencies that come through and look at the program, whether it be technical risk or cost, they all have the same opinion when they leave. Development program, normal development issues, but there are no showstoppers. No, I don't think we have. And as we have that software plan laid out, they have all the capabilities that were envisioned in the operational requirements that the warfighter, that the operator put forward and said, this is what we need to make this a 5th generation airplane. This is what we need to make it a game changer. And as we provided the last load of software on time at the end of January, we envision and have a plan and resources to provide the full capability to the operator, not only the pilot, but the maintenance, engineering, and sustainment people who will work on the airplane. I think as you look back, on any program, there's certainly areas for improvement. But when I look at it, I look at, so talk about the big strategic things about the program that you would change. Would we do 3 variants of an F-35 on the same production line? Absolutely. What we're seeing is a better learning curve. We're seeing still commonality where it matters in the mission systems, in the avionics, and in the propulsion system, the real cost drivers. So that has been a good thing. Would we set up 3 different production lines instead of 1? We would definitely still do 3. So the evidence we're seeing on the production line in the factory is that when you build an F-35A, you provide learning to building an F-35B. You provide cost reduction to an F-35C. So that has been a smart decision. The question is, would you build a stealth fighter in there? Absolutely. When you talk to the people and the operational experience that you see in Eglin Air Force Base, at Yuma Air Force Base, this is a whole new generation of stealth. Very easy to work on. There's a lot of technical reasons why that is. There's a lot of technical progress, albeit classified, that's in the program that really allows it to be a very maintainable stealth airplane by all accounts. The question of smaller things that we change, yeah, sure. I think as you go backward on any big program, complex program, would you change things? Yes, but some of the other things, really the strategic vision of the program, I don't think anybody would have changed. We certainly would have done it faster, more efficiently, at less cost. I think any program would tell you that. But would we have changed really the international aspect of the program? Would we have changed the operational capabilities? The big things would remain. I look at it. Well, the main issues, I think, as the minister or the state secretary really pointed out, is Norway has to have its operational requirements, capabilities on time. They don't want to deal with a capability gap, and he made that very clear to us and very clear to me today. What I can assure him is we're delivering airplanes on time, 30 airplanes last year. I think by all accounts that from the U.S. government and the Joint Program Office, no one is worried about us delivering 36 airplanes next year. I shouldn't say that, but there is very little risk, I think, in us delivering 36 airplanes. We're confident that we can do it. The other is delivering the software. And again, we're focused, putting resources to it. We're providing capabilities for the State Secretary to track us and how we progress on that software. And that's really what's left to complete. The other is the State Secretary wanted us to ensure that the cost of the airplane is going down. And we just completed negotiations on the 5th year of production. And I was happy to report we signed the contract more than 12% below the U.S. government estimated cost. And I'm confident that the 6th and 7th year of production will sign below that cost. And I was able to provide him evidence of that, and he was certainly happy to see that, as any taxpayer would be in Norway and the United States. Just once before, and I tell you, I got here today, and it looked like a picture postcard. The snow had just fallen, and the trees looked beautiful. I live in Texas, where we do not get snow very often, and this looked like a paradise. My only regret is I'm here for such a short period of time that I would have really liked to go skiing, and I think who wouldn't in this kind of weather. But it is beautiful here, and people are extremely friendly, and I look forward to returning many more times.